But does the president have a sense that most of the criticism is not of leaving Afghanistan, it's the way that he has ordered it to happen by pulling the troops before getting these Americans who are now stranded? Does he have a sense of that?
First of all, I think it's irresponsible to say Americans are stranded. They are not. We are committed to bringing Americans who want to come home. We are in touch with them via phone, via text, via email, via any way that we can possibly reach Americans to get them home if they want to return home.
There are no Americans stranded is the White House's official position on what's happening in Afghanistan right now.
I'm just calling you out for saying that we are stranding Americans in Afghanistan when we have been very clear that we are not leaving Americans who want to return home. We are going to bring them home, and I think that's important for the American public to hear and understand.
Okay.
So now, after Fox realized that the vast majority of Americans do support Biden's full withdrawal of troops from Afghanistan, their beef isn't with the withdrawal itself, but rather how the troops were withdrawn. Funny how Fox News didn't seem to be so critical over Afghanistan when a Republican president got us into the war, or when the next Republican president effectively ceded full control to the Taliban. But clearly those are just minor issues. In reality, the reason that we're in this situation in the first place, meaning scrambling to evacuate both Americans and Afghans amid the country's lightning-fast fall to the Taliban, is the result of the deal struck between the US and the Taliban in 2018. The Trump administration negotiated with the Taliban, and only the Taliban, meaning not the actual Afghan government, to coordinate a peace deal. The deal included promises by the Taliban for Afghanistan not to become a haven for terrorists, and to negotiate a ceasefire with the Afghan government. And in exchange, the US would pull out of the country. Only there wasn't any enforcement mechanism, no way to ensure that the Taliban would hold true to their end of the bargain. And when the US began winding down troops anyway, it became clear to the Taliban that this deal was just empty rhetoric to cover for our withdrawal. And so, of course, the Taliban was able to take over. Of course, the Afghan government was undermined. That was the natural conclusion of the Trump administration creating a peace deal where the Taliban was effectively given everything they wanted. The Afghan government got nothing, and we got a hasty withdrawal and a toothless agreement. It's almost like, and bear with me on this one, Trump didn't actually know how to strike a decent deal. And so now that the US is in a situation where we're being forced to scramble to evacuate Americans and Afghans, Fox is trying to make this out to be some problem that was completely created by Joe Biden without acknowledging the basic history that led to this in the first place. But worse than Fox News pretending that history started on January 20th, 2021, is the fact that they're framing this evacuation as a failure when the evacuation is still ongoing. The US is continuing to successfully evacuate both Americans and Afghans on a daily basis in massive numbers. In just the last 24 hours, the US has evacuated 10,400 people, bringing the total number of those relocated from the country to 42,000 since the end of July. Which brings me to Peter Doocy's claim here that the US troops are stranded in Afghanistan. Only, you're not stranded if you are able to get out, and the military is proving on a daily basis that it is capable of getting these people out. It's doing so literally as we speak. Again, 10,400 people in just the last day alone. You cannot claim someone is stranded when there is a way to leave. Of course, that won't stop Fox News from saying it, but that's only because they're more concerned with attacking Biden than the actual evacuations themselves. And the fact that these evacuations are ongoing is a point that Biden himself acknowledged.
There'll be plenty of time to criticize and second guess when this operation is over. But now, I'm focused on getting this job done. I would ask every American to join me in praying for the women and men risking their lives on the ground in the service of our nation. As events evolve over the coming days, my team and I will continue to share the information and update the American people on exactly where things are. We'll use every resource necessary to carry out the mission at hand and bring to safety American citizens and our Afghan allies.
So I get that the media is desperate to show just how much they can both sides of this issue, but writing an obituary when something isn't even dead yet isn't exactly responsible framing here. And yet it's honestly par for the course. Even non-Fox News media is always so desperate to prove to everyone that they can criticize both sides that they'll fall over themselves to adopt right-wing framing in an effort to overcompensate. It happened with Hillary's emails, it happened with Benghazi, and it's happening now, where they're more interested in showing the right that they're not the liberal media than they are with simply looking at what's happening right in front of us and calling it correctly. And all of this is especially ironic because even despite this, Republicans will still call all of those media outlets fake news anyway. And so all that's happened here is that the media just validates bad faith attacks from the right, and yet at the same time, they gain exactly zero legitimacy with those same people. But hey, all in the name of both sides, am I right? What's especially ironic here is that the network howling about how we're not evacuating people in a timely enough manner out of the country is the same network then going on to fearmonger about the prospect of those very same people coming to the US.
We will see many refugees from Afghanistan resettle in our country in coming months, probably in your neighborhood. And over the next decade, that number may swell to the millions. So first we invade, and then we're invaded. It is always the same.
And is it really our responsibility to welcome thousands of potentially unvetted refugees from Afghanistan? All day we've heard phrases like, "we promised them." Well, who did? Did you?
In other words, as far as Fox is concerned, Joe Biden's a failure because he's not evacuating people fast enough, but Joe Biden's also a failure because he's evacuating people and we couldn't possibly have them relocate here. Funny how no matter what Biden does, Fox News will find a way to attack him for it. And so clearly, it's not actually about the evacuations, it's about finding something to criticize Biden for to get a win politically. And the only reason they're going all in is because thus far, the entirety of Biden's agenda is popular. Passing the American Rescue Plan, working to pass the American Jobs Plan, American Families Plan, getting $1,400 checks out, ensuring that there are enough vaccines for everyone, getting nationwide broadband, fixing roads and bridges, making childcare and elder care affordable, and on and on. And so obviously, Fox News has had trouble figuring out how to attack Biden, even going so far as to whine that he was going home to Delaware on certain weekends. And so it should come as no surprise that when they see an opening, they're going to go all in like they're doing now, because their only weapon is to find a boogeyman to vilify. So Peter Doocy and the network he works for will continue to twist themselves into pretzels to pin the blame on Joe Biden, but their collective amnesia at everything that happened before he took office is a testament to just how disingenuous their attacks are. Fox doesn't care about the evacuations taking place in Afghanistan any more than they cared that their deity, Donald Trump, inked his worthless deal that set up the situation in the first place. But as a propaganda arm for the GOP, telling the truth is the least of their priorities. If you enjoyed that video and you're looking for a deeper dive, check out my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. It's a no BS look at the top stories of the week, along with interviews with the top names in politics, like Vice President Kamala Harris, Jen Psaki, Elizabeth Warren, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Katie Porter, Pete Buttigieg, and more. Again, that's No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, available anywhere you listen to podcasts. Also, if you want to see more videos like this one, click the subscribe link right here on this screen to join the more than 1 million people who've already subscribed to my channel. And finally, to donate to my Don't Be a Mitch Fund, where I'm raising money for a whole raft of different voter outreach and voter registration groups in the closest states ahead of midterms in 2022, including Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, North Carolina, and Texas. You can find that link on this screen as well. Thanks for watching.